Can't see anything. I don't even know if I can. Alrighty, here's our cam. This cam is completely 100% stock. I didn't order anything special. I ordered a stock cam for my stock motor. Cam's gonna go in this way because we're backwards. So I'm gonna, okay, hold on, this has gotta go. I gotta do this differently. You wanna be really careful with the cam installing it. It's very sharp and it can ding things and cause major issues. Just take your time. That's the thing I've learned, is it's like, just take it slow. Oh, come on. What's the problem here? Oh, it's not lifted up high enough. Why it no, there we go. Oh, that's a tight fit. I understand, you know, when you assemble this you're supposed to put lubricant on it, but dry fitting it, man, that sure is tight. That sure is tight. You know what I'll do? I'll throw some engine oil on there. I have assembly lube, but I'm not gonna open it when I'm not actually installing it because I'm gonna pull this thing back out. Holy smokes, this thing is tight. Man, not sure if it's supposed to be that tight. Well, it's a standard cam with standard bearing, so I don't know how it could be, you know, too tight. That's not working. I wanted to see if I could get it to move with this guy, but I guess not. Well, we're gonna go ahead and take it back out. Now I want to make sure of something here, that this actually fits here. It fits, albeit very tight. Yeah, no, it has to be right. Because these bearings are tapered, they only fit one way, so it's right, I guess. Other than that, I'm calling it a night because it is getting quite late. Sun's about to go down. So I'm gonna go ahead and clean this off. Well, everybody, I think that pretty much concludes it for tonight. I think one thing I have to remember is that this thing's gonna be fed way more oil than me rubbing my finger in some oil. So it could be, you know, different. I don't know. Wow, that's dirty. I'm honestly not sure. It could be, you know, could go either way. So I know one thing, I'm gonna want to make sure I clean these cam bearings off really good, because they're dirty. And I got some engine assembly lube and all that, like I said. So yeah, other than that, I'm gonna go ahead and call it a night. Alrighty, good morning everyone. We are back, new day. Today we're gonna be installing the crank and all the stuff that goes along with that. We got front of the engine, rear of the engine, number 1, number 5, all in between. I did go through today. I would recommend, if you're looking into doing this build, getting some of these from Harger Freight or off eBay or something if you're looking. I'll provide stuff in the links in the description for stuff. They're affiliate links, no cost to you, just help me to generate some income off doing this stuff. But I went through all these holes, cleaned them out with varying sizes, and then I went and did brake clean, blew them out from both directions, just really cleaned them well, and then I took a flashlight and actually inspected the holes, and they're clean, as you would expect. But today, we're going to be doing bearings. As I said, everything I have is NG Tech. These bearings are, part number right there. They are everything standard. There's no oversized anything on this build. So got them here. Got eight these would be 8 non-thrust main bearings and 1 set of thrust bearings for the center. So we'll go ahead and open these up. Get these open. What a thrust bearing does, to put it simply, hold on one second here. And I did go with half grooves. I was gonna go full, but I just didn't get around. I just didn't do it. After looking up online, so there's half groove, 3/4 groove, and full groove bearings. When I'm talking about a groove, I'm talking about that right there. What that does is oil floods in here. That's gonna be for this guy right here, I do believe. Yes, that one. What these do is it allows oil to flow to half the bearing at all time, or half the crank journal at all times, oiling it. Full groove allows full lubrication all the way around the crank. They sit like this, which now that I'm looking at them, that's a little bit odd. If I didn't know any better, that doesn't really fit, but I guess that works. That's a little strange. Full groove, this would have a groove, 3/4 groove, can be some, 3/4 of groove. The more the groove you have, the less surface area for thrust to happen, or torque. So, if you had a full groove, that's just less area that it oils, but it's less area that it can have torque on. So these go here. These are thrust because when pistons are firing, to put it simply, when the pistons are firing and getting shoved down, it'll either cause the crank to slide forward or back slightly, so the crank actually moves back and forth. That's hence the thrust plate. Grooved always goes on bottom, so the grooved will go there. If I can get it slid in there like so. These are tight, really tight, but we'll go into that here in just a second. Short explanation. You want the bearing, so perfect example. That's obviously not going to work. That would destroy. That would not be good. You want them to be flat all the way across. So let me get a screwdriver and pop that back out here. I'm going to throw some gloves on because these are coated in anti-rust stuff from the factory. So I have a new pair of gloves here, and the reason you want a new pair of gloves is when you're working with bearings, you want to make sure you're being pretty clean. You don't want to get contaminants. You want to minimize contaminants. I watch all these engine building tutorials, and the dudes are like overly psyched out about making sure the engine's clean. And while I totally, let me scratch my bearing up real quick. While I totally agree with making sure it's clean, I did get some marks right there on it. Actually, you know what? I don't think that was me. That looks like that's there. Huh. Well, that kind of sucks. I don't think that was me. That's a lot gnarlier than what I just did. But regardless, whatever. At the end of the day, cleaning is important, and making sure that stuff is clean is important. But, I think sometimes people forget what these bearings see. These bearings see very, very harsh conditions. like the amount of stuff that gets circulated through your oil, regardless of an oil filter cleaning it or not. So, you know, let me give you an example here. This right here is my old thrust bearing. So, you know, kinda a little worn out. And to top it all off, this engine ran just fine with this. Like, stuff spun over, stuff was getting oiled. Sure, the oiling was low, but as you can tell, bearings see lots and lots and lots of wear. And obviously, you know, you want to prolong it as long as you can. I gotta get a clean rag as well. While you want to be as clean as you can, you know, within the first couple hours, this is already gonna have scratches in it. Like, it's not, there is gonna be some thing that is gonna get ran through the motor. So, you know, people really get overly psyched out about making sure stuff's clean. And while, hey, I'm like perfectly fine with being clean. Like, it's super important to be clean here. You know, at the end of the day, it's gonna turn into this. So, you know, this bearing has had many, many, many miles on it, and they're meant to wear. I think people forget that, is that bearings are meant to have, they're meant to wear. The bearing is meant to wear rather than the crank, and they both wear, but the bearing more so. And for those of you that don't know, the way this works is engine pumps oil, has oil pressure, gets fed through there. If everything's correct, this bearing is separated from the crank journal by a thin film of oil. Obviously, you know, that doesn't happen all the time. You'll want to make sure you clean these off with a solvent. I think one thing that kind of made me realize it and maybe sure the engine doesn't last as long, but there's dudes in India that are rebuilding engines in the dirt, and they run for miles, and, you know, they run. Like, you can't say they don't run. If they didn't run, there wouldn't be any vehicles on the road. Dudes rebuild stuff backwoods, man, and sure, it may not run as long, but, you know, it runs. And I'm not using that as an excuse to be lazy. You obviously, you know, you have the tools available to make an engine clean, make it clean, but don't go overboard. You know what I'm gonna go get? Actually, I know what I'm gonna do. I have this new thing that I ordered online. I've seen it used in a couple videos now. It's a plastic, instead of like a metal wire brush, it's plastic. I'm gonna go get it, and we'll test it out and see how good it does. I don't know, maybe it sucks. The videos I saw, it looked like it worked fantastic, so we'll see. Alrighty, here it is right here. Of course made in China, but it's plastic. I don't know how this is gonna work out. I want to reiterate, everyone, I'm not meaning that you shouldn't make sure you're clean when you're assembling an engine. Don't be weird about it. I've seen dudes where they're like, it's just overboard. It's like, you know, like, okay, it's clean, it's very clean, you know. This is interesting. I wonder how this is gonna work. Oh, this is weird. This is interesting. I don't know how this is gonna work. Let's test it out here. Does it actually? Oh, wait a minute. Whoa, coach. Dang. Holy smokes. I mean, I guess it works. It really wants to get away from you. Wowie zowie. You know, if you were using a metal one, that would be pretty screwed up by now. Well, that's pretty fantastic. I mean, you can obviously see the vast difference from there to there. Like, look at that. that works pretty darn good. You know, you really don't have to get all that stuff, but I'm actually quite surprised. I was worried that it might not work. It seems to be working just fine. Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, now that we got that done, I'm gonna go ahead and clean all my caps. There's 5 of them. I'm just gonna clean the cap, make sure it's all clean, and then we'll come back through, do one more clean through here, make sure these surfaces are all clean, inspect the threads, make sure they're clean, and go through and install all of it, and we'll also do the rear main seal. One thing you want to make sure when you're doing this is the torque sequence. I couldn't find the torque sequence for the 351 modified, but for every engine it seems to be a circle. So it goes 1, 2, you always start with the thrust plate, so it goes 1, 2, then it kind of goes, I have to think here, front of the engine. So they always go to the front. So they'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I've noticed they kind of go in a circle. I'll do it clockwise, so I have to think 1, 2, is that, and then 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 1, 2, yes, they always do this side first. From all the clips I've seen for like Chevys and everything, they always go to the front as the first. They never start, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4. They always go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, kind of a circle. So boom, 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 boom. So that's what I'm going to do. And we'll just go from there. I want to make sure all these surfaces are clean, and when you're torquing these down, we'll talk about it, but you want to make sure there's a layer of oil on the threads of the bolt and down in there, and on the surface here where the bolt head will sit, because you want the least friction when you're torquing so you get the most accurate number. If it's dry, you know, you may get a way lower number because there's friction on the metal as you're torquing it down, and that could cause serious problems down the road. So I'm going to go ahead and get all these cleaned up, make sure they're all nice and clean, and we will move on from there. Catch you guys in a little bit. Alrighty everyone, just to give you an idea of the old bearing wear, I'd say this engine didn't wear great. It's had a pretty rough life. So you would have these 4 here, these 5 here with the holes are going to be your bottom, your block, I guess you could say, crank journal bearings, and these ones that are not, have no holes, and this one here are going to be your crank side crank journal bearings. And as you can see, lots of wear. This engine, you know, I figured if this engine ran on this, it's gonna run probably just fine on new stuff. So give you guys a close-up shot if I can get it. You know, so, and you know, here's a new one for comparison compared to the old ones. Obviously way nicer. I went ahead and cleaned all these caps. They still got a little bit of oil on them, but I just used some water in a 5-gallon bucket and some super clean and a Scotch-Brite pad. A lot of people say not to use Scotch-Brite because it leaves little microfibers, but you know, what else am I supposed to use? Anything's gonna leave lint. Sandpaper would leave little bits. You know, I don't know if Scotch-Brite is the best option, but you know, I wash it off, then I blow it off, then I wipe it off, then I blow it off again, then I wipe it off some more. You know, this is what they look like here. This is the rearmost one right here. This one is going to have some special stuff. We're going to have to RTV, a little RTV along the outside here, and the gasket is going to have to be offset a teeny bit to prevent it from leaking, I do believe. So just to show you guys what this would look like if it was on here, it'll look like that right there. That's what it'll look like. Actually, wait a minute, nope, flip it around. There we go. Sorry about that. That right there is what it will look like. And if you really want to get technical, you can measure the inside of these bores with it all torqued down and blah blah blah. I'm not going to do that because this engine doesn't show any signs of like major warping or anything. It looks pretty. It looks like a nice engine actually. I don't know what causes warping. Seems like it would have to be a pretty big deal for something to warp. So, but now I'm going to go through this one more time, wipe all those areas off, and we are going to install all of our bearings. And I have some Cleveite bearing guard assembly, engine assembly lubricant that we'll be using, and torque wrench from Harbor Freight, and adapters from Harbor Freight. I watched a whole bunch of videos on these torque wrenches. They're actually not as bad as people say they are. Some dude took it and like hucked it. He like threw the thing and it was still within specs. So I never realized how hardy torque wrenches are. They're pretty resilient things. But I'm gonna go ahead and get these bearings installed, and I will come back to you guys. Again, I'm gonna wipe the surface under the bearing off, and then I'm gonna install the bearings, make sure that they're flush here and here, and I will come back to you guys. Really fast, one thing I do have to say I'm not a huge fan of is those other bearings that I have don't have this weird gap here. They're flush. I don't know why this has a gap. It's actually a little bit concerning. I'm not entirely sure why it's like that, because that's a thrust surface. So you know, the weird thing is this is a reputable brand, like NG-Tech's pretty good stuff, seems like. And if I flip it around, it's not any different. So I hope this doesn't cause problems. I'm a little worried about it. As you can see, this is Ford's bearings, and they match up super well. So I am a little concerned about that. I may be seeing what the deal is there. Well, regardless, I just dropped that, which means it's probably not very good. Yeah, I'm gonna have to post some pictures of that on a forum and see what people have to say. Well, everyone, we're giving it another shot. Everyone online says that I can do it, so I'm gonna try. I'm gonna run the tap. Everybody says to run the tap all the way down. So I don't know, maybe it'll all of a sudden make a difference. It doesn't seem like it to me, but I don't know. Seems like the hole's too big even for the top of the tap. The way NPT works is it's constantly, the tap grows as it goes up the threads, but don't seem like it's growing enough to make a difference. I don't know. But I'm gonna try it. Just working my way back and forth, making sure not to snap, strip, you know, making sure to cut. That's the whole purpose of what we're doing, is we're cutting in threads. And I guess what's the worst that can happen? I overdo it and I can't put the plug in because it would go too far, you know. Boy, I sure hope I don't regret this. Okay, I guess we'll do that. Ran the tap in as far as the threads go. I could obviously run it deeper, but we'll see if that's enough. I guess you'd call these an Allen key, not a wrench. Hopefully I didn't do this too deep. Oh, I did it. I think I did it much too deep. Maybe. I don't know, let's see. I'll be right back. I'm gonna have to chamfer this hole as well because it lifted metal up on it. But I'm gonna go get a micrometer and mic everything and make sure that this passage is not getting blocked, because that will be catastrophic. I'll be right back. Alright everyone, I figure I'll show you how I check this here. So I took the maximum depth of the hole with this micrometer, the bottom of it here. You just go like this. Pardon me if I'm shaking a little bit. So right there's where the threads stop. So I'll go like that, and I'll take this, and this at its lowest, there's about that much of a gap up top. So what we'll do is, this at its lowest down here, you can see the gap above it. So what we'll do is take this, run it down in where my nail stops. So it's got that much in, or it's got this much in here, pardon me, this much is taken up, that much is how, I have to think here. You're supposed to use a specific kind of Loctite. I don't know if I got the right kind. I got what I got, I'm gonna use it. So I am okay, I trust that that's not interfering with oil flow. Now I need to drill that out to 5/16. Not sponsored by Permatex. Is 23,000 is the part number right there. Blue Loctite. I wouldn't really ever use red because you're not ever going to get it back out. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to drill that out, not past this channel here. What you just want to do is increase flow to this journal. You don't want to increase flow to this bearing, so stop when you get to this spot here. This is wanting to catch here. What I was actually just doing there is pulling up on the drill bit to keep it from snagging. What I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna grab my air, I'm gonna take all that. It's actually better if you have that plug in there. I'm gonna take this air, and what I'm gonna do is shield the engine that way. Oh, okay, we popped through there. Oh. It's wanting to catch. Let me look here. Yep, we're all the way through, and I actually chamfered the hole on the other side, which isn't a bad thing. Alright everyone, real fast, I wanted to show you all how I got the numbers to make sure that it wasn't down into the oil passage. This right here is down towards the engine. I used the micrometer. This is the total length of the threads. I ran the plug in. This was the free space above the plug. Then I lined the plug up. That marks the bottom of the plug. So there's that much space, plus even a little bit more where the passage starts. So everything is good to go. Yeah, I just wanted to better illustrate that. Alright everyone, I do want to document the whole process of doing this, so we got a chamfer bit on there. Dealio. Apparently these suck, but oh. I guess that's good. I don't like how thin that is there, but what can you do about it? Alrighty everyone, I got everything sprayed out best I could, to the best of my ability. I shined the light down in there and I can't see any glistening or anything, so I blew it out and used brake clean and blew it out and brake clean and just went back and forth. Hopefully anything I missed, the filter will catch. We're using this blue thread locker. We got the plug here. I don't know, does this require cutting? Looks like it does. I guess that's good. I wanted to be liberal with it, so we'll just go ahead and send it on down in there. We're gonna get this really tight, so. And one, two, three. That's probably never gonna come out. So, alrighty, everyone. Next up, we're going to be throwing bearings in. I'm gonna blow this off one last time with the air, and we'll get to putting bearings in. Somehow I didn't record that, putting this one in. You just want to make sure that these are even. Alrighty everyone, got the ones for the bottom here. I'm just going to get some brake clean, wipe the bottom off. I'm mainly worried about the bottom right now. Reason being is I can wipe these off when they're in there. So you just want to make sure that, you know, there's no oil on these, on the backs of them, and try not to handle them with your fingers on the back. You know, handle them on the sides. You want to make sure your key goes this way. Don't drop them either. That could be a big issue. Be really careful with these edges. These edges are really sharp, but you want to make sure there's no debris. Looks like we're good to go. Oh, I just touched it there. Whoops. That's all right. We'll go ahead and send it on down in there. And you can always, you know, push it back and forth. Lines up. This side is a little high. Perfect, good to go there. Move on to the next one back here. Now we got all of our block side main bearings in. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to wipe these all down, and then I'm going to, oh my knee. I'm going to wipe these all down, then I'm going to throw assembly lubricant on. Actually, I'm not going to throw assembly lubricant on them just yet. I'm going to make sure the crank's ready to go. I'm going to actually run the wire wherever I got. I'm going to run this through the crank oiling passages just to make sure that there's no gunk in them. And then I will come back when all this is ready to go and the crank's ready to be set down in there. Okay. Alright everyone, we are back. Got the seals here, they're hard. And we want to clock these. I don't know what the spec is for clocking these, but they're obviously nice and rubbery and soft. Now, these have a surface on this side that goes like this and hard 90s back. It's at the actual seal part right here. I don't know if you guys can see it. You can see this side's shiny. This side has a hard edge. This side flat. That side's got the edge. You want that edge facing inward because the pressure will hit that and not be able to go past. If you install it this way, the pressure will just push the the fin down. It's actually what it is. It's a fin type deal. It'll just push the fin down, whereas this way it'll build pressure and actually help it to seal. So you want to make sure you install that with the lip facing in and the slanted angle facing out. And we want to clock these, so when we install this, I'm going to go about 3/8 of an inch probably. That looks about right. And what we'll do is, I don't know, I'll have to look. So this will be clocked like this. Pardon me, like this in here. And the reason you clock it is because if you didn't clock it, it would leak right at this seam here. So it'll sit in there like that. And you guys can't see with my leg, it'll sit in there like that. So we have it clocked here. But sorry if that's kind of off to the upper part of the screen, I don't really care. And we'll want to apply some gasket maker out here. What that does is seal this whole area here and here to keep it from leaking, because it can kind of leak around these. I heard, I don't know, on these Fords if it does that. The video I watched was a Chevy guy, because no one really has done anything with these. Well, actually no. Was that a Chevy guy? It might have been a Ford guy. It might have been a 351 Windsor or Cleveland, I don't know, or a 302. I can't remember. Regardless, he clocked his, so we're going to clock these. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and get these on here, or get this applied on here. Make sure my finger's extra clean. Blow it off. You guys can see. As you can see, thick like honey. And I'm just gonna apply a liberal, well, you want to do a thin coating. You don't want to do a super crazy coating, because then you might run into issues. So with this stuff, you want to apply enough of a coating. You really want to make sure this is important actually. You want to apply enough of a coating where it will, or you want to apply enough of a coating, and you want to cover the whole thing, because what you don't want to have happen is you don't want any bearing contact with the crank, because it will scratch it. It will just put mini scratches in it. So now what we're going to go ahead and do is I'm going to grab the crank and drop it down in here. I did wipe the crank off with a microfiber. I really should have wiped this off with a microfiber. Microfibers are actually pretty sweet. They don't leave too much lint. So I'm just going to sit here real quick and inspect everything. I don't know what that was. Make sure there's no major problems, because we don't like major problems here. We like nice, clean, simple put-togethers. Nothing going wrong. Actually looks pretty clean. This thing's really heavy, ladies and gentlemen. You're gonna want to go slow. You don't want to bash stuff. Make sure your fingers are out of the way. I got this thing backwards. I'm just gonna go down here like so. And reverse. And up. Don't drop your crankshaft. You drop it, it's toast. Go real slow. Down in. Oh, we're currently smashing fingers. There we go. And it's in. Feels pretty good. Feels like a crankshaft that's in a, you know, I don't really expect much else. So next up, we are going to make sure these surfaces are clean here, here, and here. All of these are the cap mounting surfaces. We're also going to inspect our crank, make sure everything's good to go there. You know, if you're doing this in a dirtier environment like I am, you kind of want to hurry, because there's definitely particulate in the air. And I'm going to take it. Number one, got arrows that face the direction. I'm just going to set it down on there, like so. And I am gonna have to, it looks like, hammer it into place, which is not a huge deal. There we go, everything looks good. I can see this bearing, it mounts up perfectly in there. So now I'm going to grab the bolts. I'm going to get some oil. You want to have oil for this, so I got oil right here. This is the oil that I will be using in the engine. I am going to dip said bolt down in there. I'm going to bring it over here. I'm going to get some on the top here, and I'm going to drop it down in and send it to the moon. There is some friction, which I'm not super stoked about. I don't know why. I'm gonna make sure this one gets, the threads on that last one did not get fully coated. The threads on this one, however, are gonna get fully coated. I'm pulling that one back out. That was not to my liking. Not to my liking, ladies and gentlemen. Don't shoot yourself in the foot. Good to go. I'm gonna wipe my finger off. I'm gonna take it, number 2 facing forward. Gonna drop it down in there, like so. Line it up, take our mallet. This side is the side that needs to get put down on there. It's not wanting to settle up here for some reason. There we go. I'd like it to go forward a little bit. I'm using the block here to line it up. Just making sure that it's square. Everything still is rotating, because the bearing's not going to get re-dirty. I'm going to be careful. The bearing shouldn't get re-dirty. If it does, it's my fault. I wasn't careful. Yeah, these bearings definitely got some marks on them. Not super thrilled, but they were Rock Auto bearings. I tried ordering some off eBay, but that was a whole ordeal that just, trust me, it didn't work out very well. So I am going to put a little dollop on that guy. That was more than a little dollop. And I'm going to put a little dollop on. Y'all got to remember that with a machine surface, that's pretty good. Alrighty everyone, sorry about that. I don't know why that happened. The battery may have died. I don't know, but I got this last one on. These bolts, one of these bolts was really hard to put in by hand, like way harder than all the other ones, so that's a little odd, but regardless, it's in, and it rotates with some required effort. It rotates, feels like it's got not resistance, it just feels really sticky. You know what it feels like? It feels like it's got molasses on the bearings is what it feels like. So the more I rotate it, the more it seems like it's getting easier. But I'm not going to rotate it a whole bunch because I don't want, and I don't hear anything bad. It sounds perfect. I completely forgot to measure that. Vopasite hissi. Yeah, that looks a little tight, but I don't really know what I can do about it. So now what we're gonna do is I guess we're gonna torque all these down, and that will tell us, you know, if something major is wrong. Like if I go to torque these down and something all of a sudden doesn't move, well, that's a problem. So I'm gonna get the torque wrench and get to torquing these down. Just to double check, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 on the back. Yeah, I guess we'll get right to it. Oh, I forgot to pound that down too. The mallet. Whoops. Well, I'm sure that's alright. Let's get to it. Alrighty, everyone, we're going to get this done pretty quick here. Online it varies 70 to 90, 95 to 100 for the final torque, so I'm just going to do half. I don't think there's like, well, I'm going to do 3 steps, sorry. Just to be safe, I'd rather do 3. It's not going to hurt it if you did more steps at lower increments. So I'll do like 25, 50, I'll do 25, I'll do 35, 75, 100. So we're gonna go up to 35, so we're at 35, so we're gonna go 1, this is 13/16. Okay, 1, 2, then we're gonna go to the front, boom, boom, circle around, boom, boom. So we've done 1, 2, circle, 3, 4, circle, 5. Six, circle, 7, 8, 9, circle around, back, 9. Oh, oh, that was it popping down because I forgot to hit it with the hammer. 10, 5, 6. Oh, I actually can't do that. 6, 7, 8. 9. My arm's giving out. This is hard to do on the ground. on a roller. I can't do it on the roller, I gotta get off that thing. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Oh, is it really gonna be this last one that's gonna get me? Not a chance, boy! Come on! Come on! There we go. Okay. Hey, guess what? That was 97. The wheel hub bolts on the Mustang are 210. You ain't doing that with your arms, ladies and gents. No, sir. I'd like to see someone that could take a torque bar and get 210. You've got to be probably jacked. Oh, thank the Lord Almighty, it's in. It's actually in. Oh, at all. Perfection back here. It's perfect. It sealed just the way I wanted it to. Couldn't have sealed any better. Holy smokes. Everyone, where y'all at? Hello. Woo! I mean, sounds good to me. Boy, this thing's gonna have gnarly oil pressure now. This thing's gonna be so much better than it was. Oh my gosh, you can see it, which is really odd. That's interesting. What is this? Oh, it's oil. Oh, that's out of these. That's out of the bolts. Okay, that makes sense. I was like, dude, where did that oil come from? Okay, so I guess next up will be pistons. But the problem with the pistons is I gotta clean them. The tops of them are disgusting. Let me get one here real quick. You got your piston here. They're super dirty, as you can see. These pistons have little holes right here. So I didn't address something in the video where I was taking these out. It was just me taking them out. This edge is chamfered. See how this edge is not chamfered? You guys can't really see it from that far. Let me, yeah, okay, hold on. See this edge here? And then see how much of a difference that is. The connecting rod cap's the same way. This more chamfered edge goes on this outer part here, so it's gonna go like this. These little dimples, I do believe on this motor, all the pistons have them, they face the front of the motor. When I took these off, I didn't quite realize that. If you put it the other direction, you'll actually, because this isn't chamfered enough, it'll cut into the crank on these sides here, which probably won't be a good thing. So yeah, I got to get these clean and just make sure everything is a-okay. And I also need to, for some reason when someone did these, the oil wiping rings here are exactly lined up along with this expansion ring deal here. These three are not supposed to be lined up. These are just lined up by coincidence here. But these are not supposed to be lined up. They're supposed to be staggered here, and one in the middle. Do not put them here or here. This is the power strokes of these are the major strokes of the piston. When this is its power right here. The force is exerted here and here. So when you do these oil wiping rings, you want to put one usually about here, here, and the one in the center. And your piston rings, you want to do one here, lined up here, and you want to do the other one 180 over here. I'm not going to replace these rings or anything because they all look pretty good. As you can see here, for anybody that ever might wonder, it says on it, right, can you guys see it? Right there it says 351 modified, M351M, 36. And yeah, so I'm going to get all these cleaned up and come back to you guys. I'm pretty sure I'm going to install these tonight because I want them installed. So crankshaft's in. That's how you install a crankshaft and a 351 modified. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. The real test will be tomorrow, probably tomorrow night, when this thing's running, because I don't got that much more to do now. I just got to paint some things. Yeah, actually I'm going to paint those tomorrow morning. Let them sit all day while I'm finishing up the heads and everything on this. I got a spring compressor from Harger Freight for $8. It actually compresses the spring because I got to take those valves out and give them a quick cleanup and throw some new hats on the valve stem because the rubber ones on there are like missing and stuff. So but nevertheless, we're gonna get to it. Now is a good time to inspect your piston for cracks, burn marks, holes, anything that would raise some questions. So I'm gonna let you guys go and I'll get back to you when we're ready to throw pistons in this. Alrighty everyone, it is the next day. Got a super late start today, sadly, but what can you do about it? One thing that I forgot to do, pardon me. One thing I forgot to do, I completely forgot, on the number 3 main cap, you want to check the clearance on the thrust surface. Remember, this bearing is the one that's got the thrust surface on it because this slides back and forth. So what you want to do is you want to grab some sort of hammer, not metal, and you want to hit the end of the crank that way. And since I got everything torqued down, I had to hit it pretty hard. I just went and bought these feeler gauges. It goes all the way up to 0.0015. And the clearance for this, you want it to be above, that right there is 0.0015. And they're stuck together, I think. Oh, no, never mind. Wait a minute, those are stuck together. This right here is 0.002, so it's 20 thousandths, and you want to measure, so if you hit the crank this way, you want to measure this side, and then you're going to hit the crank that way, and you're going to measure this side. And on this side, it does slide down in there. Slides right down in between. There's actually a film of assembly lube on there. The next one I want to try is so that was 0.002. This one here is 0.0025. So we're going to see if 0.0025 will fit. And 0.0025 does fit, which is really good. You want it to be around 0.0025. I would probably be okay with 0.0020 10 thousandths. That's pretty tight. I would prefer if it was over that. And then this side we'll check it. That goes in 25 10 thousandths, and just to see, we'll check and see if 30 goes in. 30 also goes in, so that's good. Let's check 40. We'll see if 40 goes in. 40 doesn't fit, so yeah, 30 barely fits in there. It catches, so it's gonna be between 25 10 thousandths and 30 10 thousandths is what it's at. It's probably gonna be like 27, somewhere around in there. So that's perfect in my opinion. That's what I want. Also, everything still rotates around. And today we are going to be doing. I wanted to touch on something about this thing rotating. If this thing's rotating hard, like if it's hard to rotate with your hand, something's weird. You really should be able to push this with just a finger, you know. Shouldn't be something super laborsome. And if you were using engine oil, it would be easier to push. Since I used assembly lube, it's like honey, so it's obviously going to be a little bit harder to push. It's going to be thicker. But today we're going to be installing pistons, and we're going to be installing them with the Speed Pro. There's the part number. Speed Pro, made by Sealed Power. I believe these are made in the USA. This is all new old stock I bought, except for well, I actually don't know. I bought these off eBay. So these are, I don't know what these bearings are. They're definitely a little different. They are they're different. I don't know what they are. It says they're hardened, which I'm not quite sure what that means, but you can definitely tell that they have some heat treatment on them. They're colored different, so whatever, I don't really care. They're gonna do just fine for the stock application, and they were cheap. I don't remember how much these were, 20 bucks or something, I don't quite remember.